The stars blinked silently against the black canvas of space, each one a distant sun with worlds of its own. On the edge of a quiet sector, far beyond the main trade routes of the galaxy, an alien research station floated like a jewel among the void. Its spires and domes glinted under the light of nearby suns, but inside, panic had begun to spread. Scientists and engineers ran through corridors, their voices overlapping in a mixture of fear and confusion. A signal had been sent, one it was never supposed to broadcast, and the consequences were about to ripple across the galaxy. The station's chief engineer, a tall being with pale, almost translucent skin, paced in front of the main console. "Check the coordinates again!" they demanded, their voice sharp and trembling. "It was meant for our nearest allies only. It cannot reach the outer systems." The technician at the console shook. The array malfunctioned during the test.
The distress signal has traveled farther than we predicted. Too far.
We may have contacted someone we shouldn't have. The word hung in the air. Contact. The idea that an unknown civilization, perhaps dangerous, could have received their plea for help made the entire station shudder with tension. On a tiny outpost on the edge of the Milky Way, humans stared at the same message. The deep space listening station was modest, almost forgotten, but it had equipment precise enough to detect signals far beyond Earth's immediate neighborhood. Lieutenant Mara Chen sat at her console, her fingers dancing over the keys as the signal appeared on her monitor. At first, it looked like random noise, but patterns began to emerge. There was a rhythm to the pulses, a structure that suggested intelligence. She frowned. "This isn't natural," she murmured to herself. "These aren't stars talking or cosmic radiation. Someone is sending this intentionally." Her colleagues gathered around, each one staring at the strange lines on the screen. One of them, Dr. Hare.
Isaac Rami leaned closer. "This looks like..."
A distress signal. Universal format.
"I've read about it in old First Contact protocols." "A distress signal? From who?"
And why is it coming from so far away? Before they could speculate further, the station's automated systems began decoding the message. It was fragmented and confused, but the urgency was clear. Somewhere, a civilization was in trouble. But there was a risk. Responding could draw attention, and the universe, Mara knew, was not always kind to strangers. Across Earth, government officials debated the message's meaning. The president watched analysts report from secure rooms, her face a mask of concentration. Military advisors argued for caution. "It could be a trap," one said. "We can't risk sending ships into an unknown sector," a diplomat countered. "Or it could be a genuine call for help. If we ignore it, we might condemn an entire civilization to destruction." The debate dragged on, tense and bitter. But humanity's old protocols, designed decades ago in preparation for first contact, did not wait for politics to resolve. Automated humanitarian response systems began to activate, independent of human intervention. Sensors calculated trajectories, ships were prepped for departure, and within hours, a small fleet of advanced carriers prepared to leave Earth orbit. The ships were a mix of research vessels, transport carriers, and offensive cruisers. Their purpose was simple: arrive, assess, and protect. They carried no weapons meant for invasion, only shields, drones, and systems designed to save life. Yet from the perspective of the aliens in the distant sector, these glowing vessels emerging from hyperspace looked very different. When the alien coalition noticed the approaching fleet, fear spread through their command centers. Their own systems had predicted no such movement. Enemy forces, long thought to be contained in other sectors, could use this sudden surge as an opportunity to attack. Worse, the aliens had no idea of human intentions. Were these invaders or saviors? Back on Earth, Mara and her team watched the fleet vanish into the stars. The station's monitor showed no immediate danger, yet the message's strange nature gnawed at them. Something about the signal was urgent, desperate. It was a cry not just for help, but for life itself. Meanwhile, the aliens scrambled their own ships. Orders were given in rapid succession. Commanders paced the bridge, issuing commands to intercept the approaching fleet.
"Identify them!"
one shouted. "Do they carry weapons? Are they friends or foes?" The first human vessels arrived at the edge of the alien sector and deployed sensor drones. These drones scanned the planets, detecting energy signatures that suggested life, technology, and, most surprisingly, military structures. But the humans did not fire. Their ships formed defensive patterns, shields glowing faintly in the darkness. Every move was cautious, deliberate, signaling peace rather than aggression. For the aliens, the sight was baffling. No species they had encountered moved like this. Civilizations with similar technology would have attacked immediately or attempted to subjugate weaker neighbors. Yet these humans did neither. Their movements were precise, their intentions hidden behind calm facades, and it made the aliens uneasy. Inside one alien cruiser, the captain turned to the tactical officer.
"Why aren't they attacking?" the captain demanded. "Every other species would have fired by now."
"Are they weak or cunning?"
The officers shook their head.
"I do not understand them."
"Their systems are advanced, their formation is strong, but their patterns, they do not match any combat protocol we have studied." In a nearby city, citizens of the alien homeworld noticed lights in the sky. At first, they thought it was a rare celestial phenomenon. But as more ships arrived and formations began to take shape, fear spread. Families gathered in homes, schools were evacuated, and public announcements urged calm. News feeds buzzed with speculation. Who were these intruders? Were they friends or enemies? As tensions rose, the humans made a decision. They sent a communication beacon, broadcasting the same peaceful patterns used on their approach. It was a simple message, unarmed and clear. We mean no harm. We are here to help. The aliens intercepted it and paused. The Council of Leaders convened, debating the strange behavior. None had seen anything like it. The humans did not demand resources or territory. They did not encircle planets with weapons. They simply waited. In the research station that had sent the accidental signal, alarms blared. Engineers monitored the expanding fleet, realizing the scale of the mistake.
"This was never supposed to happen!"
the chief engineer shouted. "We didn't mean for humans to see it. We didn't mean for them to respond." But it was too late. The humans had already crossed hundreds of light years, guided by the pulse of a signal, born from error. The aliens could prepare for war, but they now faced a force entirely unlike anything they had encountered. In orbit above the Coalition's largest city, human ships hovered, scanning, shielding, ready to act. No weapons were raised. No attack patterns were drawn. And yet, the mere presence of these newcomers changed everything. The alien leadership began to reconsider their assumptions about the galaxy. If humans were capable of reaching them so quickly, and if they acted with caution rather than aggression, perhaps they were not like the others. Perhaps there was something different about this species, something neither allies nor enemies could have anticipated. And far from the tension and fear, on the small listening station on Earth, Mara Chen watched the data streams. She could see the responses from the aliens: confusion, caution, and fear. But she also saw something else: hope.
Oh! 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 Oh!
Hope that a single mistake, a misfired signal, could connect two civilizations. Hope that humans could, in their own way, bring a measure of order to a chaotic and dangerous galaxy. And hope that when the universe reached out for help, humanity would answer. The first part of the journey was over. The humans had arrived, unknowingly stepping into a war they did not yet fully understand. The aliens watched them with caution, and the galaxy waited to see what would happen next. In the darkness between stars, One thing was certain. The signal that was never meant to leave had now changed everything. The vastness of space stretched endlessly, filled with distant stars and glowing nebulae. Human warships moved quietly through the dark void, their sleek hulls reflecting the light of nearby suns. They carried no weapons for conquest, only shields, scanners, and rescue drones. Yet their presence was enough to make the alien coalition tremble. For centuries, this civilization had been cautious, calculating, and wary of outsiders. Now, an unknown species had appeared, unannounced, crossing hundreds of light years, and the aliens had no idea what to expect. The first alien ships arrived in orbit around their central planet, sleek and angular. With shimmering energy shields, they formed defensive rings around the cities below. From the alien command bridge, the captain's eyes scanned the approaching human vessels. They moved in calm, deliberate lines, sensors constantly scanning the planets and satellites. But they did not fire.
"They are not attacking," the captain said, disbelief coloring their voice. "They are near."
Observing, the tactical officer shook their head. "Their formation does not match any standard we have studied. Their shields are strong. Their speed is unusual. Yet they make no aggressive moves." Below, civilians watched from observation decks and windows, unsure what to make of the strange ships. Children pointed excitedly at the glowing silhouettes. Adults whispered warnings, unsure whether to hide or flee. For the first time, fear mixed with curiosity. Then, without warning, a ripple of danger appeared on the Coalition's long-range sensors. A fleet, dark and predatory, emerged from hyperspace. The aliens had long feared this enemy. Raiders, killers, a civilization known for consuming or destroying anything in their path. The humans had unknowingly entered the heart of a battlefield. The alien captain's voice rose in alarm.
"Enemy fleet detected! All ships, battle stations!"
Protect the cities. They are faster than our reports indicate.
But the humans did not panic. Their fleet immediately reconfigured. Ships that had been scanning now formed a defensive perimeter. Drones deployed, mapping the enemy positions and analyzing weapons systems. Shields flared, adapting to incoming energy pulses from the hostile fleet. Humans moved as one, their actions precise, predictable only to themselves. The first engagement began. Alien cruisers, expecting to fight alone, watched in astonishment. Humans intercepted enemy strikes with swift maneuvers, deflecting plasma blasts and redirecting energy flows to protect themselves and nearby alien ships. Within minutes, several enemy fighters were disabled, their engines cut off, without a single human casualty. From the Coalition's command center, the Council observed the battle unfold.
"How is this possible?" one elder asked. "Their technology is
advanced, but they are not attacking first. They are defending." A younger council member spoke.
"They are not like other species we have encountered. Observe how they protect our ships.
They are allies." Meanwhile, on the battlefield, a damaged alien cruiser plummeted toward the surface of a populated city. Civilians screamed as sirens blared, but before disaster could strike, a human vessel moved between the falling ship and the planet. The human craft absorbed the impact with its shields, breaking apart the alien ship's descent and saving millions below. The human vessel sustained heavy damage, but no lives were lost. The alien fleet commander, witnessing this act, was stunned. Why would they risk themselves to save our ships? What kind of species are these humans? In the chaos, communication lines opened. Human ships broadcast peaceful signals in multiple formats, universal codes of safety and aid. The aliens paused, unsure whether to trust these messages. Slowly, the first contact was made, an encrypted communication link directly between the human flagship and the Coalition's central command. The human voice was calm and measured. "We are here to assist. We do not intend to harm you. We will defend, protect, and help where we can."
There was a long silence before the coalition responded. Their message was cautious but urgent.
"We did not request your presence. Your arrival may have escalated the situation. Still, we recognize your actions."
You saved one of our ships. This is unexpected.
The humans replied, simply, "We act to preserve life. That is our primary mission." The Coalition Council debated the humans' words. They had never seen a species act with such clarity and purpose. Every other encounter with new civilizations involved conflict, trade demands, or territorial claims. But the humans' actions were different. They protected without hesitation, without asking for reward. Above the city, the remaining hostile ships regrouped. Their leader, a towering vessel bristling with weapon arrays, scanned the area. "Identify all unknown ships. Engage and eliminate all threats," the commander ordered. "We will not tolerate interference." The humans, however, had already analyzed the enemy's combat patterns. They noticed predictable cycles in attacks, weaknesses in formation, and timing errors in the raiders' energy flows. Using this knowledge, they created countermeasures. Ships moved in synchronized arcs, creating illusions of larger fleets, while drones misled enemy sensors. The predators, thinking they were attacking scattered or weak targets, found themselves caught in an unbreakable web of human strategy. During the battle, the Coalition's fleet watched in awe as human ingenuity unfolded. Not only were the humans strong, but they adapted, learned, and acted in ways no automated system could predict. One alien commander whispered to another, "They are not just advanced, they are brilliant." A sudden explosion rocked the battlefield as the enemy flagship attempted a concentrated strike on the human perimeter. The humans had anticipated it. Energy pulses were redirected, shields reinforced, and the enemy's weapon backfired, damaging several of its own support vessels. Chaos erupted in the Predator fleet. Amid the fighting, human ships continued to protect alien cruisers and civilian transports. No human ship fired recklessly. No attack was wasted. Every move had purpose. Safeguard life, disrupt enemies, and maintain the integrity of the Coalition's homeworld. On one human vessel, Lieutenant Mara Chen monitored energy flows. Shields holding at 75%. Enemy flagship destabilized. Drones indicate multiple critical failures.
"We can finish this without boarding actions."
Her captain nodded. "Proceed, but maintain defensive posture. We protect first, attack only if necessary." The enemy fleet faltered. Their attacks became erratic, uncoordinated, and desperate. The humans guided alien cruisers to push back, forming a combined shield line. Slowly, the Predators were forced to retreat, leaving wreckage drifting like dead stars in space. For the first time in centuries, the Coalition witnessed an unknown species emerge from the void, and not just survive, but protect them. The humans had no claim to the system, no desire for conquest. They had entered a dangerous zone by mistake, yet they had turned the tide of battle through courage, strategy, and selfless action. As silence returned to the battlefield, the Coalition sent a formal message. "You are unlike any species we have encountered. Your actions saved our lives and our cities. We
wish to understand you."
Mara Chen read the response aloud to her crew.
"They want to talk. They want to learn."
She smiled faintly, the tension of the battle giving way to relief. "This is why we came. This is why we answer the call. Not for glory, not for power, but for life itself." Above the planet, humans and aliens alike surveyed the remains of the enemy fleet. Fires burned on distant moons, and debris drifted slowly through orbit, but no further attacks came. The humans had proven themselves not just strong, but honorable. In the days that followed, the Alien Council began to reassess everything they had believed about the universe. Strength was important, yes, but adaptability, courage, and the will to protect others. That was something they had rarely seen in a species. And humanity, it seemed, had it in abundance. The humans, too, learned from the coalition. Alien technology, battle strategies, and communication protocols expanded their understanding of space. Yet despite their knowledge, they remained humble. They did not claim victory, they only ensured safety and prepared to defend against any future threat. As both fleets regrouped, a cautious alliance began to form. Messages of gratitude and respect flowed between human and alien commanders. Bonds, fragile but real, were being forged in the aftermath of shared danger. And in the quiet of space, Mara Chen gazed at the distant stars. She thought of the signal that had started it all, a mistake that had become the spark for something greater. The universe was vast, filled with dangers and wonders alike. But for the first time, humans and aliens were not alone. They were together, standing against the unknown, ready to face whatever came next. The sky, once empty and threatening, now carried a new story of humans who arrived not as conquerors, but as protectors, and of a civilization learning that strength could come in the form of compassion, courage, and unwavering determination. The space around the coalition's central planet was still quiet, but the tension had not faded. The remnants of the enemy fleet drifted in orbit, damaged and scattered, while human and alien ships hovered like guardians over the cities below. In the alien command center, leaders and military strategists gathered once more. The humans, their unexpected allies, were now part of the discussion. "We have never seen such tactics," one council member admitted, pointing at a holographic map of the battlefield. Their fleet moved as one, yet each vessel acted independently. They are unpredictable in a way that makes them dangerous and effective. Captain Rawl, the alien commander who had fought alongside humanity, nodded. "Their actions saved lives, but the threat is not gone. The enemy will regroup. If we do not act, our homeworld may face another strike, stronger than before."
Lieutenant Mara Chen stood nearby, observing.
Her crew had spent hours analyzing alien fleet data and enemy behavior. "We've studied the raiders' patterns," she said. "They have weaknesses they rely on, flaws they repeat because they think no one notices. We can exploit that."
The council leaned forward. "Explain," the eldest member demanded.
Mara gestured to a holographic display. "Their attacks are cyclical. They rely on intimidation and predictable bursts of energy. They attack in waves, overextend, and then recover. If we can lure them into traps and force them to commit prematurely, we can break their formations. Our drones can create phantom fleets, confusing their sensors, while our ships strike at critical points. We don't need to engage in all-out combat, just guide them into positions where they defeat themselves." An alien strategist raised an eyebrow. "You would manipulate them with illusions?" Mara nodded. "Exactly. Humans adapt. We can create scenarios that force predictable enemies to make mistakes, and then we capitalize on those mistakes. It's a battle of wits as much as firepower." The council deliberated. Many were skeptical, but the evidence of the humans' previous success was undeniable. Finally, they agreed to a joint plan, blending human ingenuity with alien technology. The preparations took days. Human engineers modified drones to project holographic ships, giving the impression of larger fleets. Shields were recalibrated to mimic movement patterns that the predators would misread. Alien ships were repositioned to act as bait, appearing vulnerable but protected by hidden human vessels. Every detail was carefully calculated. When the enemy fleet re-emerged from hyperspace, the trap was ready. Mara Chen's flagship led the advance, projecting a phantom fleet ahead of the real line of defense. The predators saw what they thought was a weak human vanguard and charged, expecting easy victories. Instead, they found themselves walking into carefully arranged ambushes. Alien cruisers, guided by human strategy, cut off escape routes. Energy pulses from enemy weapons were absorbed and redirected by human shield systems, turning their own attacks against them. Phantom ships confused sensors, causing enemy pilots to misfire, collide, and panic. Captain Raw watched the chaos unfold on his bridge.
They are executing perfectly, he murmured. We've never seen such coordination.
It is extraordinary. On the front lines, Marichan monitored the battle.
Drones indicate multiple critical failures in enemy systems. They are miscalculating energy flow and shield strength.
Our phantom fleets are causing confusion. Prepare to close the trap.
Human ships shifted silently into position. Alien cruisers moved in synchrony, guided by human commands. The Predators, confident in their apparent advantage, continued their assault, unaware that the entire scenario had been orchestrated against them. Then came the decisive moment. Mara gave the order. Human ships redirected energy from their shields into concentrated bursts, striking the enemy flagship. The vessel shuddered under the combined force, its engines failing, weapons offline, and command systems compromised. Panic spread among the remaining enemy ships. Without their flagship's guidance, coordination collapsed.
The aliens, witnessing the collapse, were astonished. They have defeated the leader without direct boarding or reckless attacks,
one council member whispered.
This is
unlike anything we've seen. Mara smiled grimly.
It's not just strength. It's strategy, adaptation, and the willingness to protect others at every turn.
That's why they failed to predict us. As the enemy flagship faltered, the remaining raiders attempted to flee.
But human and alien ships worked in perfect coordination to intercept them. Every escape route was blocked. Energy nets immobilized engines, and drones disabled weapons. By the time the Predators realized their situation, they had no choice but to retreat, leaving their wrecked ships behind as a warning. The battlefield fell silent. Wreckage floated like scattered stars, smoke and energy flares illuminating the darkness. Human and alien ships drifted among the debris, shields active, scanning for survivors. Not a single human ship had been destroyed, though several had sustained damage while protecting alien vessels. The Alien Council sent a formal message to the humans. You have demonstrated skill, courage, and honor.
We owe our survival to you.
Your species is unlike any we have encountered. We wish to establish permanent relations.
Mara read the message aloud. Her crew felt a mixture of relief and pride. We didn't come here to be heroes, she said. We came to help, but I suppose we've done both. In the days following the battle, human and alien fleets worked together to recover the wounded, repair ships, and restore communications. Cultural exchanges began even in the midst of reconstruction. Humans marveled at alien technology and philosophies, while aliens studied human history, ingenuity, and resilience. One evening, as Mara stood on the deck of her flagship, gazing at the distant stars, Captain Raoul joined her. Your species, it is remarkable, he said quietly. You do not seek control or conquest. You adapt, protect, and survive. That is a strength unlike any other. Mara nodded. We've survived because we have to. But we also survive because we care. Strength alone isn't enough. You need courage, intelligence, and compassion to face what the universe throws at you. Ra looked out at the glowing remnants of the enemy fleet.
I thought the galaxy was beyond saving, that our civilization would always be at risk.
But you have given us hope.
Mara smiled. Hope is powerful.
It can unite civilizations. It can turn mistakes into victories. That's why we answer calls for help, even when we don't fully understand them. Across the Coalition's planets, citizens began to rebuild. Stories spread of the humans who had arrived, unasked, unarmed for conquest, yet capable of turning the tide of war. Children played among the ruins, pointing to the stars and imagining the beings who had saved them. Families celebrated, not just for survival, but for the arrival of allies unlike any they had ever known. The humans remained vigilant. Mara knew the predators might return, stronger, more cunning. But she also knew humanity was ready. They had learned to work with others, to protect life, and to think beyond brute force. Every action, every calculation, every choice had been a statement. Humans would fight, yes, but not for power. They fought for life itself. In quiet moments, the crews of human ships reflected on what had happened. They had entered a dangerous sector by accident, yet their actions had changed the galaxy. They had proven that intelligence, courage, and compassion could overcome threats far greater than any one species could face alone. And somewhere in the dark expanse, the enemy survivors fled, their understanding of humans forever altered. They would remember the species that moved with purpose, fought with precision, and defended without hesitation. Humans were not like the others. They were something new, something to respect, and perhaps even fear, for they combined ingenuity with an unshakable will to protect. As calm returned, Mara Chen and her crew prepared for the next phase. The Coalition had survived, but the galaxy was vast, and danger was never far away. Yet humans had made their mark, not with aggression, but with determination, intelligence, and the courage to act when others hesitated. The battle was over, but the alliance had just begun. And in that quiet, shimmering void of space, a lesson had been written across the stars. When humans answer the call, they arrive not as conquerors, but as guardians. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter that night, reflecting the unity of two civilizations that had come together under fire, ready to face whatever the universe might send next. The battlefield was silent now, but the stars above seemed to carry a quiet energy, a sense of possibilities and new beginnings. Human and alien fleets drifted among the debris of the defeated enemy, shields active, scanners sweeping for any overlooked danger. The enemy's remnants had been scattered, their war machines disabled, and their strategy broken. For the first time in centuries, the alien coalition breathed freely, knowing that the immediate threat was gone. Captain Rahl stood on the bridge of his command cruiser, gazing at the human flagship hovering nearby. Mara Chen's ship had become a symbol, a constant presence among the Coalition's fleet. He could not fully understand these humans, yet he had seen their strength, their cleverness, and their unwavering determination. "They are unlike any species I have encountered," he said quietly to his second-in-command. "They do not fight for power. They fight to protect. That is remarkable." Mara Chen, standing at the front of her bridge, monitored the repair drone spreading across the damaged alien ships. Even now, hours after the last enemy ship had retreated, she remained vigilant. "We can't let our guard down completely," she said. "The predators may return, stronger, or with new strategies. But the Coalition has learned too. They've seen that humans adapt quickly, and we fight to preserve life." A communication line opened from the Coalition Council. "We wish to express our deepest gratitude," a council member said. "Your species has not only saved us, but has also shown us a new way to think. We wish to establish a long-term alliance and share knowledge, technology, and strategy. That is the next step. Cooperation will strengthen both our civilizations. We have much to learn from each other, and much to protect together." In the days that followed, humans and aliens worked side by side. Human engineers repaired alien vessels, adapting some with new technology to enhance speed, defense, and communication. Alien scientists taught humans about energy manipulation, faster-than-light navigation, and methods to stabilize entire planetary systems under threat. Every interaction was a lesson, every shared strategy a step toward understanding. On the surface of the Coalition's main planet, citizens emerged from shelters, cautiously observing the skies. Stories of human bravery and sacrifice had spread quickly. Children pointed toward the stars, imagining the humans who had arrived without demands or weapons of conquest, yet had the power to defeat fleets and protect millions. Families rebuilt homes, schools reopened, and markets thrived once more. Humans were no longer distant figures of fear or mystery. They were guardians. Mara Chen visited one of the cities with a small team of diplomats and engineers. She walked among the citizens, observing their lives slowly returning to normal. Children ran past her, laughing, holding small drones the humans had provided for education and exploration. She knelt to greet them. "Curious about the stars?" she asked. A young boy nodded eagerly.
You saved us! Will you stay?
Mara smiled gently.
We will stay as long as we are needed.
But more importantly, we will teach you to protect yourselves too. You are capable of amazing things.
Remember that.
Above, human and alien ships coordinated patrols, ensuring that no remnants of the enemy could regroup unnoticed. Mara and her crew monitored sectors far beyond the immediate battlefield, scanning for signs of danger. The galaxy was vast, and threats were never fully gone. But humans had established a presence built on vigilance, strategy, and protection rather than conquest. In one of the Coalition's research labs, alien scientists studied human technology. They were fascinated by the simplicity and effectiveness of human designs and by the human approach to problem-solving. Unlike many species they had encountered, humans did not rely solely on power or overwhelming force. They relied on understanding, adaptation, and cleverness. A young alien researcher turned to her colleague. They are extraordinary. They fight, yes, but they do not seek to destroy. They see life as something to protect, not a resource to conquer. Perhaps that is why they succeeded where so many others would have failed. The galaxy may be chaotic, but they bring a kind of order. An order built on care and intelligence. Even as humans and aliens worked together, the Coalition began to change. Leaders discussed new strategies, new defenses, and long-term plans to prevent future threats. They consulted human tacticians, learning to anticipate dangers, not just through force, but through planning, prediction, and adaptability. Civilization-wide drills were implemented, teaching citizens how to respond to threats, protect their cities, and assist each other. The lessons were hard, but they were necessary. Mara watched these developments with quiet satisfaction. Humans had arrived by mistake, answering a signal that was never meant to reach them. Yet that mistake had changed everything. Entire civilizations had survived because of their actions, and alliances had been forged that would strengthen both species for generations. One evening, Mara stood on the observation deck of her flagship, gazing at the horizon where stars met darkness. Captain Rahl joined her, his expression thoughtful.
You're a species. It is unlike any other.
You do not seek dominion. You do not demand tribute.
You adapt, protect, and teach. That is strength beyond measure.
Mara nodded. We survive because we must, but we protect because we believe life is worth protecting.
Every species, every world, every person counts. That is our choice, and it is what gives us purpose. Rahl smiled faintly. We have learned much from you. Not just technology or tactics, but something deeper. Humanity. Reminds us why we fight at all. Not for power, but for life. Across the galaxy, the scattered enemy survivors regrouped in distant systems. They would remember the humans not as simple invaders or primitive creatures, but as a force that combined intelligence, courage, and moral purpose. Wherever they went, their legacy would follow, a warning to any who thought to threaten life without understanding the cost. Meanwhile, on the Coalition's main planet, citizens celebrated the new era. Statues of humans and alien heroes alike were erected, not as rulers, but as symbols of courage, cooperation, and protection. Children learned the stories of the fleets that arrived when they were most needed. Artists painted murals of glowing ships in the sky, and musicians composed songs honoring the unlikely saviors. In the quiet corners of space, Mara's fleet maintained watch. Ships moved in patrols, scouts explored nearby systems, and human engineers prepared for any eventuality. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but humans had proven that careful planning, selflessness, and adaptability could change the course of events. Mara sat in her quarters one evening, reviewing reports from the Coalition. Ships were repaired, civilians safe, and the enemy scattered. A faint smile touched her lips. All of this began because of a mistake, she murmured to herself.
A signal sent by accident, and yet
It brought us here. It changed everything. Her crew had gathered nearby, exhausted but proud.
Mistakes can be powerful,
One officer said lightly.
sometimes they show us what we are truly capable of.
Mara nodded. And sometimes they show others what we are capable of, too. We protect, we adapt, we survive. That is humanity. And now we have allies who understand that. The stars beyond the observation deck shimmered. The galaxy stretched infinitely, filled with unknown dangers, unknown worlds, and unknown civilizations. But for the first time, humans were not alone. They had forged bonds, proven their worth, and shown the universe a new form of strength, one built not on domination, but on courage, ingenuity, and compassion. And in that vast expanse, the Coalition's citizens looked to the sky, watching human ships patrol among the stars. They were no longer distant figures of mystery or fear. They were guardians, protectors who had arrived not for glory, not for conquest, but to ensure life endured. Mara's final report to the Coalition summed up the journey. We came because of a signal. We stayed because it mattered. Together, we have faced danger and survived. Together, we will continue to protect life.
That is our purpose. That is our promise.
The Council sent back their response, simple yet profound. You are not only allies, but teachers, guardians, and friends. The galaxy is safer because of your presence.
The sky itself seems brighter with your ships among us. Mara looked out one last time at the horizon.
Stars twinkled like scattered diamonds, a silent testament to the victories, the alliances, and the courage that had defined this moment. The humans had arrived by accident, yet their choices had forged a legacy. They were the guardians of life, and their presence would echo across the galaxy for generations. And as the fleets of humans and aliens moved through space, repairing, protecting, and learning from one another, a simple truth became clear. In a vast, dangerous universe, strength alone is not enough. It is the courage to act, the wisdom to adapt, and the choice to protect that defines a civilization. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it means to be truly strong. The stars shone brighter that night, not because of power or war, but because of hope. The sky was full of ships, yes, but these ships carried not destruction, but protection. And in that moment, the galaxy knew that humans, by answering a call for help, had changed everything.